No, it's an entitlement. We are entitled. I mean, like I told you, I'm a blunt person. I believe we are an entitled generation. We're entitled. Botswana are entitled. Where in the world you go to walk into an institution and say, I have a business plan, you don't have experience, and that institution says, I'll give you nothing more than 5 million. That's what CEDA is. You go into the Bible where I learned a lot. All wars, I assure you, in the Bible have always been surrounded by the issues of land. I'm sorry, I don't believe in the stocks and I think the forex nonsense. I just believe that pyramid schemes, they go and say, I'm trading, spend the whole day in flip-flops and in boxer shorts. I just think it's a whole lot of nonsense. You need to sweat and work hard for your mind. Nothing in life comes in short. Please just note that the disclaimer is that not everyone is meant to be a businessman or a businesswoman. Note that some of us are going to be employees of the year. You're going to get a bonus. Live happily ever after with your husband, your wife, and it's okay.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Deep Dive Show. My name is Mochudi. Our goal with this show is to bring you and I in proximity to the people and ideas that will show us that it is possible and it can be done, and eventually help us achieve on our dreams and on our goals. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a special guest. He's a young, youthful entrepreneur hailing from Mochudi. He is a real estate professional, the MD at Morox Properties, a company mandated at property valuation, property management, estate agency. This gentleman has worked extensively in PROMANCO and in Turnstar Holdings. He's also a part-time lecturer at Baisago University. He is also the treasurer of REIB Real Estate Institute Botswana and a member of REAC Real Estate Advisory Council. He's also the founding partner of MOROPHALA Pty LTD, a transport and logistics company. And some of you may know him. He was the star of Property For You. So ladies and gentlemen, help me in welcoming back to the show, Mr. Morokotso.
Wow.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Your intro, bruh. Hey, how do you do that? When I grow up, I want to be like you, man. I've just been watching you get wow, this guy, creme or what? My man.
Hey, creme. That's how I passed.
I am so happy. I'm so happy to be here today. I want to be you, my guy.
Yeah.
Your intro is wow.
No, but this is what you used to do, though.
I used to do this. I mean, like, the way you're doing it so naturally. The reason why I've been smiling all this time.
Yeah.
Dude, we used to look at the mirror and my producer would tell me, hey, chief, this is not a live production. Per hour. I have a team looking at you behind here. So you better get this right.
Yeah. No, thank you. But we were here 1 year, 9 months back.
Yes, sir.
1 year, 9 months back, and you were sitting on this chair across of me as a bachelor.
Yes, sir.
But today, there's a ring on the finger. So I think that deserves a round of applause.
Yes, thank you.
I think that deserves a round of applause, and your beautiful wife is in the audience.
Yes, sir.
But I want us to go straight into it. We touched on this on our first one, but the audio was kind of bad. It was really rough. But we touched on this, but I want you to go straight into it because I think it's extremely powerful. And we also have a newer audience. So I wanted to walk us through. You moved to Gaborone, was in Mochudi. I want you to start there. When you moved, I don't know, number one room, I want you to start there from that point up to now.
Okay. It's quite a long way back now that we've grown up and we are where we are. But basically, I decide on my second semester that I think I need to move to Gaborone for me to be able to concentrate in my studies and for me to be able to take risks without my parents surveilling and monitoring how I do things. So I decided Mochudi is the cheapest area in town. You can get quite... I almost said decent accommodation, but we all know what Mochudi is like. So I found a room in Mochudi and I decided, let me move into this room. I can, whenever my allowance is not yet credited, I can walk to school. So I don't know if you know where the South Botswana Conference is, just Hastywell Hotel. That's where there was a room behind there. I decided to stay there. And normally what I would do is wake up about 6, walk to Baisago, such that when I get there, Banaba ba na leng privilege ba di taxi ba mpitla ke jele magunyanga botithonyana and then I can
could lay down
could lay down no one baska bona re ke tla ke walk bona so I mean I stayed in there ko Baisago. I was doing my diploma then and it was then called Baisago University College. Then I graduated into university status.
Yes.
And I pursued the diploma until Baisago introduced their Bachelor of Commerce Degree in real estate, where I immediately transposed into the degree. And you will stop me if I'm being a bit too fast, but within that within that phase, I went on industrial attachment. When I was in attachment, my then supervisor or mentor decided that when you go back, we want to actually give you an employment contract. We're not letting you go. You can go back to school, give us your timetable. We'll see how to work around it, but you will be our employee, but a student, because you're just working. We like your work culture and your work style. So they gave me a contract. Went back to Ba Isago to finish my diploma. And then I transposed into the degree and kept on working part-time. And I got a gig with a company or a show dubbed Property for You.
Yeah. How did you land it?
How did I land it? See, I was a student in school, ne? I don't know if any of you would relate with this. I was this kind of guy who, when we had class presentations, you see this assignment, presentation, I took it personal.
Yeah.
I was like, you know that we've got clothes in Kola Paint. You remember them? So I was a kid that took it seriously. And I think one of these days when I was doing the presentations, one of my lecturers who knew the producer of Property for You just said, you know what, there's a kid who normally takes this thing seriously. Give him a chance. One day I get a call. I think it was actually during the December season. Someone says, hey, listen, man, my name is Michael Mpeo. I'm interested in recruiting a television presenter. One of my presenters is hopping off. Are you interested in helping Mercy out? I'm like, what is Property for You? Please tell me what this is. Yeah, look, do you watch Top Billing? Yeah, I watch Top Billing. Yeah, our Top Billing.
Yeah.
So the guy calls me up and says, come and see me in January when you're back, and I will teach you everything. And the reason why he says I'll teach me everything is that every single time, like Moses, I kept on saying, I can't do this. I don't know this. Do you remember how Moses used to say, I can't speak to people. I stammer. I'm not a public figure. So I kept on telling him, I don't know anything about TV. The guy's like, no, I'll teach you everything. And during those holidays, I also took it upon myself to research on what TV presentation is until I was invited for the first show. My first show was in Mokabe. And to my surprise, guys, TV is not as easy as people think. You've got 8 people behind the camera and hoping that you don't mess up your English, because your English has to be in line. You know how we try Englishalize things? You always mix Botswana with English, but in TV you have to actually
you have to
be straight. If it's English, it's English. If it's Botswana, it has to be Botswana. So that is Property for You. I did it for about 5 years. I was working with my co-host, Masisi Tola, very, very intelligent and interesting lady. Until COVID came and we decided I needed to hop off and focus on business. Yes, sir. So that's it.
Awesome. What I'm very curious about, I think this is something that affects a lot of people, probably myself included. What made you make the jump? Like to leave your home, everything was there, you know, it was comfortable, and you went and you're gonna do all this. Because I think people still do that, but I can't manage 8 months, I can't manage a year, I can't go on like this, then they end up going back. But you managed to just brace through and just...
No, that's true. Thank you very much for the question. I think there's a question I normally, if I had a platform like yours, I'd preach to young people every single day. I don't come from a very privileged household. We're not the richest people. We are just a medium kind of family. So when I was growing up, I always wanted to experiment, experience, and just my father is very industrious. He came to our business. Ne? He tries anything and everything out, and he's really he looks and sees success in everything. So when I realized that I was at that age where I could actually also stand on my own and sell my own morogo, like my father used to sell morogo, sell dijo tsa dikgomo, I started realizing that under my father's supervision, I would only be as good as he was, or I would only be as good as he thought. And therefore, I needed to take the leap of faith to just jump off and work on my own. That is the first thing that I realized. Number two, that I took very seriously is that, and I always say this to people, if you come from a family background that is okay, you must learn to take risks at the, I say take the risk at the expense of your employer. But go out in a positive way though. Go out, experience life, knowing that if you do get to a depression, or you get to a point where you need to retire back or move back home, you can do that. So what I did, I told myself is that, look, there's an allowance here. I used to sell books, trust.
LE.
LE.
Yeah.
I used to be LE. Yeah. So, and what I did is that I'm going to move out with my allowance and with the Madia Dibuka. I'm going to pay for my rent, my food, and everything else. And I'm going to try at first it was me trying it out and knowing that if all fails, I'm going to move back home. So the reason why I really moved is because I wanted to try out being independent and just trying things out on my own.
And you got your first car at 19.
I got my first car at 19,
No
my guy.
ways.
So with me, it was about working really hard. As a part-time employee, your commissions are not like that of a full-time employee, but you are motivated by seeing your colleagues cashing in quite well. So I was like, I'm going to make sure that by end of the year, my boss writes me a bank guarantee check to go buy my first car. And indeed, because of hard work, I managed to get my first car.
What's the car?
I bought a black Golf 4. You know, Golf 4.
Golf 4.
Yes, Golf 4.
You're a golf person.
Yeah. Until I got married. But I used to be a VW person.
And then you moved because I remember you said 19 first car. I don't know. It was close.
Yeah.
The next one came in like 2021. 21 day.
Yes. In 2021, at one point I had two cars actually. I bought the Golf 4 and then immediately got the Golf 5, I think after 12 months or about 13 months, because I needed to sell the other one. And in that process, I couldn't find the right price for that one because, it was your first car, you have attachment and So I had two cars at one point. But then that is just the transition I went through.
All right. Dope. All right. So you come now and you get into real estate, you go in hard. I was reading, you said on your Facebook, 100% citizen owned, 70% female workforce, and also 100% youthful. And I think there's a lot of, that's not by mistake.
Yeah.
That's not by mistake.
Deliberate.
And
totally.
I think it's extremely powerful. And I want you to walk us through that.
So I remember when I started Morox Properties, I was coming from the corporate world. I tried the corporate side of things. It wasn't my fit. I hardly lasted 12 months because I just can't take the pressure and I can't take the supervision. I had worked for somebody, PROMANCO, very nice work experience. I learned a lot. So all those organizational cultures, the psychology that exists is the one that helped me curve an industrial psychology I wanted in my employees. So it all led me to young people. We are very energetic. I'm energetic. I'm the type of person who works till 3 a.m. and I don't even realize it, simply because I just want to get work done and be able to go to sleep after 3, come back to work at 11. And, that goes against a lot of the corporate culture and or the business culture of having someone work from 8 to 5. So when I was designing, when I came about my company, I asked myself a lot of questions. Listen, you hire someone who's old, they bring experience, and most of the experience is rigid. It comes from somewhere. As I came in, we all react and behave in the best way we think. we know. And that it comes from where the organizational culture that you learned or you came from. So when I designed Morox Properties, I took it upon myself to be deliberate about hiring young people because I believe I was given a chance, 1 in a million chance to be given an employment contract before you're even finished with your school. I believe with Property for You, it is also a part of providence for me to be given such a gig. I'm not even a media studies graduate. I don't even know anything about TV. In fact, at that time, I had no passion for TV and I didn't even know Property for You. So someone gave me a chance. So I decided when I have a chance, I'm going to give young people a chance. And guess what? To my surprise, when I started my company, all the young people proved me right. I'm building a company right now. All young people, young ideas. People keep on asking me. Sometimes I meet people on the street. Hey, man, lovely post, by the way. I'm like, what post?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, lovely post. Lovely post. And I'm like, I didn't post anything.
Yeah.
And it's my team.
Definitely.
I mean,
I want to go out email.
you know? Yeah. So my team does everything. I have, because of the youthfulness, we have conferences, we have meetings. They lead me on and tell me, no, avoid this, Mr. Morokotso. Look, this is what. Just the idea of using young, local, willing people. So that is where the passion comes from me, and also striking the balance. I'm not saying I'm trying to be biased or anything. My wife is an activist. So even when I employ. She's there. You know how wives are. She's there to supervise and give you the gender balance and give you the ratios, men to women. Just makes you aware of it. She doesn't tell you to do it, but she just makes you aware of it. I just do notice that you've got more men here. What does that say about you? Remember, I'm an activist and I'm...
How was that experience, of balancing it out like that? Because I think also, balancing it out like that, also multicultural. Because I know companies, like about Facebooking, they're also trying to put multicultural and they're all trying to put all these things together. How does that work?
Look, I don't know the dynamics. For me, it came naturally. But what I can tell you is that I've got really competent young ladies who are giving this gentleman also a run for their money. Two of them are under Valuations. The other is doing property management. The other is an accountant. They are bringing it to the table. They're not there by looks as normally corporate society assumes. They're not there by virtue of favor. They come in, they put in their work, and they show that they deserve to be where they are. So, Lehare Hayara, our interview panel will tell you that, no, we didn't hire this person because we're trying to do the gender balance, as normally society wants to suppress into people's ideas. Or no, local parliament, let us have a gender balance. Well, the content or the quality and the caliber of the candidates does not meet the standard. So, you meet any of my female employees, they'll surely give you a run for your money.
Definitely. Awesome. So I want us to come to, running the entire company, starting Morox Properties. You started Morox Properties while you were still in the corporate world, So I wanted to, because I believe you learned a lot from there that also informed the way you moved into Morox Properties. And I think there are a lot of young people that would like to get into real estate, that would like to learn about real estate or just to go about real estate. How would you advise them to go around about it?
Thank you very much for the question, and just maybe to lead you on that one. I was speaking Maloba at a guest lecture, and I was telling the young people that please just note that the disclaimer is that not everyone is meant to be a businessman or
True.
a businesswoman.
True.
Right?
Yeah,
we're all not meant to be businesswomen and businessmen. So please. Note that some of us are going to be employees of the year.
Yeah.
You're going to get a bonus, live happily ever after with your husband, your wife.
And it's okay.
Yeah. It's not like it's wrong. It's not taboo. It's just that society nowadays expects that or you are doing well, you are living well, you are wealthy. You have to have
you have to be your own boss.
Be your own boss. No, there are people who are really wise and intelligent who actually earn salaries, who build and invest wisely, such that when they retire, they've got good income and they've got good things to retire to. So, the question was how did I embed my company and how did I come about Morox Properties? You are right in saying I started. The idea came when I was still an employee. So immediately when I started working with PROMANCO, I knew that I was not an employee material. So that's how you know it inside you. You just know that, you know what, one day I'll definitely own this. And each and every one of us, even in the audience right now, each and every one of you know it in your gut. You know it in your heart. And this is something that you don't force, by the way. And when the opportunity comes, you just know that it's the right time for you to hop off and try this thing out on your own. A lot of people ask me, how do you know that it's the right time to hop off? It just came up and the opportunity came and I thought, you know what? It's a risk worth taking. Hey guys, risk is there. It's a risk worth taking. Keyword worth taking. And you need to be able to afford to take the risk. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to learn at my employer's expense. And I learned at all my employer's expenses. And by that, I meant that what I would do is I would start imitating my employer. I asked myself, why is he sending me to do this thing? And why does he want it done this way? Why does this man want that systems and processes be followed? Why is it that at the end of the month, I have to account for my travel and my time? Why am I being rewarded for travel time and the scope or the description of what I've been doing? So these are things that you start monitoring, you start measuring, and you do these things diligently and meticulously also. You don't do it with because it's not your thing. You do it meticulously, you do it with your all. And I did it, and once I started doing it well, I realized, okay, so for you to own a business, you need to be, at the end of the month, be able to say, listen, I'm paying this person because the value they gave my company, Kionene. So, and then, ultimately, once you've now accumulated all the experience, you say to yourself, Vine, I think it's time for me to try this on my own. And trust you me, it's calculated. A lot of people resign, hop off when it's too soon and they're not ready.
You add your own twist to it.
Yes, sir.
We're going to pause here for a break. We'll be back with Kagiso Morokotso. Welcome back, everybody. You are here in the Deep Dive Show with Kagiso Morokotso. If you watched this episode up to this point, definitely drop a like, comment below on your biggest takeaway, and consider subscribing to the channel. So we're going to get into rapid fire.
Okay.
Some rocks.
What's fiery there?
It's just a bunch of questions.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just going to fire you with a bunch of questions that are random, don't necessarily relate to real estate.
Random to who?
Or business.
To you.
Random
because you are
to
reading them from anyways.
Random to the conversation.
Okay.
The conversation.
Okay.
All right. What was your last impulse buy?
Hey, with my wife here. Are there things that I need to declare first or what? My last impulse buy. Baby, what did I get? What was I impulsive about? Anything that you saw some komanyetsa? Oh, yes, that's just my... Okay, I remember this weekend I bought an Explorer. My wife was out of town, so I decided to buy a DSTV. I've been meaning to get it.
Yeah.
I've been watching streaming. So while she was away, I decided to call some friend. I bought an Explorer. It's like connected. So that is, I bought a...
Because the World Cup is around.
The World Cup is around the corner.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. All right. Fast car or big house?
Big house.
Big house.
Definitely.
All the way.
Definitely. Fast cars, it's a
Okay.
I'm a realtor, so for me, definitely the value and the delayed gratification there has to definitely be. Cars will come, they go. They diminish in value immediately.
Quickly, yeah. True. All right. So the next question, what object do you misplace the most?
What do I misplace the most? Hey, you see, things change when you're now married. Or what?
Yeah.
And also, baby, what do I misplace the most? Okay, my keys. Yeah. Normally, I always use her car.
Hey, she knows everything.
She knows everything.
The answers are here. It's not even like...
I ultimately use her car because I just don't know where my car keys are.
Yeah,
and we always have a problem when I leave first and She has to look for the actual keys.
The actual keys.
But she's got all the spare keys either way. She keeps the spare keys. She knows where. So
But
the
you
keys,
leave the space keys too.
hey, if she gives, don't you? There's this other story, but ish, it's not. It's for another day. I'll tell
It's for
you.
another day.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. What do you think people misunderstand most about you?
Yeah. The perception with people is that because I'm a free soul, I speak my mind. People think I'm rude, and that I don't have empathy and but and they forget that we are, like, for instance, company nyame. At the end of the day, I'm running a business. It's not personal. You are an employee. Your job is to make me money before you make yourself money. Period. Whether you like it or not, it's the policy, it's a principle. Whether you try and quote it in HR jargon and what, the truth is you have to make your boss money before you actually make money.
Yeah.
That's it. Whether you want to call it what. So actually, a lot of people confuse my honest opinion for being rude.
The bluntness.
My bluntness. And those who understand me, they'll just tell you that Kagiso is going to tell you off, but just know that the guy really does care about your well-being and what you think. So that's what mostly confused them.
I think it's also powerful for people to be able to say that mind, to speak that mind.
True.
I think I would respect somebody that speaks that mind rather than someone who's always trying to be.
Yeah. And I don't understand why we live in a world of people who enjoy being told that Kagiso, he's as skinny as Mpo. And the truth is, you all see that this guy is a chubby guy. You understand? He's So I don't understand. We live in a world, in a society that just understands and wants to appreciate the mirage of idea of thought of what they really are. Yeah. And I don't like that.
I think we'll get into that because struck a nerve, and I feel it a lot. All right. Who is the GOAT according to you? Messi or Ronaldo?
Messi.
Yeah,
no, let's
not argue.
I'm a Man U fan. No, it's because this brother has been very chacharach nowadays.
In
nowadays.
The field,
nowadays,
no, but I mean like overall.
No, overall, no. Messi is
Messi is the guy.
No, the guy is good. I love Ronaldo. I love what he's doing in our team, even though nowadays he's just misbehaving. But I think Ceteris paribus, when all forces are constant, Messi is the boss, guys. Let's not even talk about this. Let's continue. What's the next question, Chief?
I'm not ready for that conversation.
Ask the next one.
All right.
Yeah, it's painful. The chest pains are painful, yeah.
The next question is, actually, this is the last question on rapid fire. What is a lesson that took you the longest to learn?
I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
There's a part where you say, turn off all the cameras, listen carefully. The lesson was that love is not a feeling, or loving someone is not by a feeling, but it's actually a choice. For you to say you love someone, it doesn't come as a feeling. And a lot of people say, I feel him. No, it's a choice. You choose to love someone. You choose to be with someone. You choose to be committed to someone. You choose to always say that I'm this person's person. You don't feel that they are your person. So that is something that took me long to understand and to fathom. And when I finally found someone I wanted to love by choice, yes, I finally decided this is the person I want to spend the rest of my life. So of recent, that is something that has really struck me, that I choose this person. I tell her every morning, I love you. And she's like, are you ever going to get tired of that? You said this to me like an hour ago. And I tell her, listen, I'm choosing as I leave this morning that I'm to tell you that I love you.
Awesome. I hope the people got it. This man is married. So they have to know it's coming from someone who's already there.
Yes.
Awesome. So this brings us a wrap to rapid fire.
Thank you.
All right. But there's some things that I feel like, because I enjoy this organic flow of it, I wanted to touch on your name. Before we spoke about, because I also want to talk about the one you love, because I think it's very profound. There's one, let me see, what question was I asking you? I was asking you about, there's something you said that struck a nerve to me where I was like, I wanted to touch on to that. But it will come. Let's talk about the love one. Because I think it's I think it's very hard for people to fathom a love in and of itself. But I think, I don't know, when you hear truth, it kind of like vibrates in your whole body. You know that something is true. Even if you didn't hear it, you can tell if this is true or not. Like you can, intuitively you can tell. That's what I'm trying to say. Because I think, so love is a choice. The feeling comes afterwards. Or the feeling
grows around the
feeling
choice.
grows. Okay?
Yes.
Because I'm always curious to know. I ask couples all the time. I've asked my parents, when did you know that this is the person I want to love for the rest of my life? What is that moment? Was it a moment? Was it a culmination of moments? What was it where you were like, okay, yeah, this is Figile here?
I'm a rigid guy, like I told you. And I would like to dismiss this mirage or this fantasy people have surrounding love in saying, you never truly know. That's the truth. I mean, I think it's out of watching a lot of Hollywood movies, honestly, that people think love is this fairy tale. You saw him, Kumbia, block 8, now you understand?
Or how the clothes were blowing.
Was African too. I just sometimes I sit there and like, no, that didn't happen to me.
Yeah.
I think I never knew. I didn't know. What I knew for sure, what I can tell you as evidence is that with my person, every time I was with her, I was at peace and I was comfortable with being myself. And that's how I knew that this is the one. When you're comfortable with being original, not 90% original, not 80%, when you are comfortable with being authentic and original about yourself, you know that this is the right person you want to spend the rest of your life with. I didn't know I was going to marry Hokontlejang when I met her. I know, but it's out of spending time with her and just learning about her that I realized, Mosadi, Basadi, and I would like to spend the rest of my life with this person. So let me just dismiss this fallacy, this myth or this assumption that one day you'll be working and then it will just hit your head that I need to get me, I need to marry that one, No, sorry, my friend.
This thing I didn't move where people were tulling like pampiri.
No, you understand?
Oh my God! And
so Mochudi, go Canada or something. Sorry. No, I'm a Botswana breed. Nothing happened. I just watched her, tested her here and here, and then she really proved to me that no, this is, and I proved to her also because
powerful. Yeah, that's the question I asked you is my first favorite question I like to ask married couples. But the second one is, what is your, because I think you are your own person, she's her own person. Just as married people are. This is two individuals who have two minds, right? But they're coming together to be one. What is your conflict resolution framework? I think that one is, for me, I feel like that's the most with my own 2% mind. I think that's one of the most important things I think for me would be in a relationship in terms of what is my conflict resolution framework. How do we approach when we have a problem here? What is our framework in terms of approaching this problem? Yeah, I think that's...
Dr. Gure better know that I'm coming for his job. This love thing. I thought it was real estate, but in the spirit.
It's coming.
Conflict resolution for me and my partner. I can't talk to... I've not read these books that people... Now I don't know why people... Even these motivational books, now I have a problem with motivational books, honestly. But I'm telling you, according to me, my conflict resolution mechanism is that when we have heated debates with my wife, number one, before we even have these things, we tell each other that we first admit in our marriage that we don't do things that we do sometimes that are out of the ordinary to deliberately hurt each other. So my wife knows from the onset that if I'm to come home late when she was having guests that she expected me to be welcoming with her, even if I could have come on time, I didn't deliberately do it.
The intentions.
So that is the first thing. So our bounce back mechanism that she first then understands that because and number one. Number two, the idea when we got into the marriage and our relationship, we told each other that, and this is something that we hold very dear to our minds. I told her, babes, we're in this forever. There's no exit clause. Sometimes when you are in conversations, people normally weave around with So now with us, we told each other that we're always going to be together, no matter how bad the fight is, no matter how bad the situation is. She told me her red flags, and I told her my red flags. And therefore, no matter how bad our conflict is, I'm going to your answer.
Yeah.
No matter how bad the conflict is, behind our heads, we're not coming in collision because we want to break each other and we're calling off this marriage or calling off this relationship. So then coming now back to this. So when we have an actual conflict, we do in such a way that she tells me how she honestly feels. And if I don't agree with how she feels, I'm honest with her. I don't just say I'm sorry. She's a very, very sensitive person, and she's very observant. She does not want an apology because because
it's needed.
Because it's needed. She wants it to be genuine. So I sometimes then tell her that, can I then be excused because I don't understand why I have to apologize. So that's where you always see me in Gaborone driving alone. Whenever you see me driving alone, no, I'm joking. But many a time then we choose just to say, let's just pause and cool off and come back and attend to this. So that's how we solve our conflict. Sometimes we deliberately just pause a conflict resolution intervention because we know that we're about to say something that will not likely take back, and we come back when we've cooled off to readdress it. And that's what I really recommend to a lot of our young couples. When you see that you are getting to a place where you don't have control over what you're about to say, just put go have some water. Go dig. When you come back, you're ready to approach it.
Powerful. Yeah. Powerful and very honest also. Thank you so much. Now, talking about real estate, your thing, how would you have somebody my age or younger who's excited about real estate, they want to get into real estate, they don't have money to buy or whatever, to get in income ID, but they would like to get into real estate. How would you advise somebody now that you have this experience looking back? What would be one of the smartest ways to get into real estate?
All right. Look, listen, real estate is a very diverse, it's very big. It's a broad spectrum. It's a broad industry. It's a broad idea. So I'm going to attempt the question in the best way I hear you asking it. You're a young person, Mochudi or Kagiso. You are interested. You've always thought like you want to be a Warren Buffett or Donald Trump of this world, owning real estate, or what you call a Jamali of Botswana, or who else has good real estate?
Dada,
again. So where do you start? And number one, and I always advise people to do this, you first need to then go to school. If you can't afford to go to school, it's something else. But if you can afford to go do real estate, please then go pursue real estate because
formal education.
Yeah, formal education. You will get to understand the diversity of real estate. Some people come in as investors, and you think, that's real estate. Some people come as asset managers. They help you realize your real estate vision and dream. They're not investors. They're just people who actually optimize your asset. Some people come into real estate as realtors or as agents, and they are doing well in the real estate industry. And they're coming in to just help facilitate a willing buyer, willing seller scenario, and that's matchmaking. So the idea that you should go to school, and nowadays, it's not even about going to school. I have a friend, Mudiri. I don't know if you know Mudiri.
Yeah.
Mudiri loves media. He loves cameras and this thing. And I've seen him grow into that by simply going to YouTube and educating himself and edifying himself and taking a keen interest in becoming a cameraman and choreographer. So photographer, sorry, English. So I think the first thing first that you have to have a passion for it. Number two, you have to know what you're getting yourself into. a lot of people, growing in Botswana, we've fallen to prey to this. There was a season, I don't know if you remember, I don't know how long back you remember this. There was a season where the in thing was accounting. Do you remember that time?
Yeah.
Where everyone was believed to be rich if they were accountant. Mobotswana. There was a season equal to that when we believed that doctors were the thing, right?
The thing, yeah.
Yeah, like, if you are you are the thing. So ngwana ha batsana hala ga go te ngwana o pasitse o ya go nna ngaka
Le IT, there was a season year IT.
There was a season year IT, you understand? So and there was a bubble for some time Mobotswana, real estate. And that's why we're getting it wrong. So if you want to do this thing, go into it not because of what people think, but go into it because it's something that you're passionate about. Yeah.
So a lot of people talk about Botswana. Like Botswana complain a lot, but hey, Botswana don't own land. There is we don't own land. But a lot of us talk about it just from a point of, we hear this person say that, I hear my grandmother, I hear my neighbors talk about it, I hear all these people, but not a lot of us are in it like you are. What would you say to people like that? But there's not all these things.
My brother, we live in a country that allocates land for free. Give me a country in Africa, or give me a country in the world that can simply give you a piece of land for free. I've never heard of it. Right now, I can just show you an active project. In Kasani, Kazungula, there's a place called, is it Flower Town? I think there's a new development in Flower Town where Lahatsin the Library sometime this year. I think about I'm not sure about the number, but it's in the regions of the thousands. Young people allocated land in Kazungula, a sought after place. Kazungula is like a couple of k's from the border. That is a corridor to trade. Young people, we do valuations there. I have friends who are up there who are always asking me to help them with valuations. Young people are selling this land like it's
fat cakes.
Fat cakes. So the reality is there. Young people don't realize the value of land and the delayed gratification of holding on to land. We are quick to letting go of land. It's a worrisome thing, and I don't know if our government is doing enough, because we sell this very land to your dadas, to your jamalis, and we then say that they are privileged or they've got an upper hand. Yeah. There's nothing under the sun.
What is it, an education problem or programming or whatever?
I think culture? It's an entitlement. We are entitled. Like I told you, I'm a blunt person. I believe we are an entitled generation. We're entitled, Botswana entitled. Look at all of these things. Where in the world you go to walk into an institution and say, I have a business plan, you don't have experience, and that institution says, I'll give you nothing more than 5 million. That's what CEDA is. You walk in there, you've got a business plan that was made by Mpo who did entrepreneurship, and he's got a good point, and you throw it on their lap. They say, go get a couple more quotations, and at the end of that series, they give you 5 million. Where in the world do you meet such an exercise? So we've been surrounded by programs that feed into our entitlement. It's not fair. And now that I'm passionate about land, I promise you, it hurts me when I have to carry out an instruction in Tlokweng, my brother, a young person is selling a property, 300,000 pula, which I'm sure in less than 5 years would be worth 600,000 pula, simply because they see a need to buy a combi, or they see a need to buy a Alteza. You understand? And a
depreciating asset.
You always try and say, but is there anything else you can do? What is this? And because we are estate agents and we're also consultants, when we interview these people, they tell there's no substance. It's just immaterial. The reason for their sale is immaterial, and it's a pandemic for our young people. And I am worried that this is going to further broaden or widen the gap between the rich and the poor, because this is our government's initiative to say we're closing the gaps, and we believe that shelter stands at the forefront of giving people integrity in our society. And if the very shelter that the government of Botswana is giving through social housing schemes, it's painful, Mpo. I mean, I can go on. I mean, I can tell you about the flats that are supposed to be for
you. Do you
youth.
think if Honana, the land would back to give people for free? Because to a great degree, when you pay for something, you value it. Or we can say price inherently tells you of the value of something. If you buy something, say you're gonna like value it more. Do you think if they would not make it free or make it very, very slim or make it very hard to get land, do you think there would be more value in it? Or
the new enacted land policy of 2018, is it 18 or 19, suggests that for you to transfer land, you have to pay 3,000 pula. I think that's one of the ways in which government is trying to sensitize its citizen. Government doesn't need 3,000 pula. I mean, it's your land. But I think that's one of the ways in which these policymakers sat down to say, listen, we want to advise, we want to make these people realize that there is a facility here, hold on to this thing by saying that there's a charge. I don't think it's a matter of, I think it goes beyond charging for land. I think we need to go back to our curriculum. As is in the Bible, we need to teach people the value of land. I don't know what subject that would be, but we need to teach our people the value of land. All wars, my brother, in the world, whether I say this waking up or sleeping, are always surrounded by war, by land. It's all about land. Ukraine, it's land. Whether you say, hey, Putin or Joe Biden, it's land. You go into the Bible where I learned a lot. All wars, I assure you, in the Bible, have always been surrounded by the issues of land. So you have to ask yourself, if in the Bible people fight over land, if the issues of land reform in Botswana are fought over, as we know in the Balete issue.
Yes.
In fact, if you just sit down and you are calm about things, you realize that the reason for controversy or push and shove is all to do with land. So then why don't we see the utility and the need for us to sit down, have a clear talk, and educate our people about land? Because the richer will continue being rich. We'll have Zambians, Zimbabweans, Nigerians who know the value of land come in here, and because it's also their right, buy these pieces of land and continue to become wealthy at the expense of our lack of knowledge. And you give someone, you put this as a curriculum. I don't know what you call it, land studies, social studies, but do something that shows someone from a young age that that's it.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Era, well said. My last question to you is, how do you want to be remembered as Kagiso Morokotso?
So this goes to the motto of my company. And I tell people that every company has a strategy and has a motto, something that it lives by. And that your question is just surrounding that. I tell people that before I am interested in taking your money, which is any business's objective, profit orientation, or going to be a going concern, I want to be able to sit down with you and tell you about land, tell you about its reform, its value, and what you're about to get into. So I would like to be remembered to be that guy who was brave enough to break the stereotype or katolo that goes around because these people who know the value of land, their job is to make us keep quiet. They thrive in seeing our ignorance. They thrive in seeing our lack of or no need. Right now, do you know who the Minister of Land, Water, Ministry of Land, Water and Sanitation Services is? We don't know, but we know who the Minister of Finance is, right?
Yeah.
But we actually, the person who we should be holding at the core of our industry or our government is the Minister of Land, because this government, if it was a business, the land the company is valued out of what it owns. Botswana is valued out of what it owns. So the finance minister doesn't own these people, but the resource is owned by the Minister of Lands. So I would like to be known to be that guy who pushed a conversation with the nation about the importance of keeping land, the importance of exploiting land for our benefit, the importance of knowing how successful economies behave and relate with land, not just as a valuer, not as a property manager, not as an estate agent or as a facility manager as we do, but in the aspect of knowing the value of land. My hope is that one day we will live in a Botswana that realizes the importance of sitting down at a quarter meeting to talk about land deliberately, not it being about baholo. Right now, when a conversation is had mo lapeng about motlakase kana go bankanya ceiling, bana ba kubiwa. Ha go bua ka go dira landscaping, bana ba ntshiwa. And that is the culture that I want to fix. We need to engage these people such that when we leave them with these and this estate, they know that the commonwealth that they enjoy and the riches they enjoy from their parents is because of this. Just a note, another concern, as I wrap that one up. Another hazardous or another awakening, I'm realizing that unfortunately COVID brought to our attention a lot of bad things. Batsadi ba re tlogetse because of COVID. Ba tlogetse bana bone ka lehatsi. Mpho batsadi bana ba rekisa lehatsi at a very alarming rate to impress their peers, to go and pursue. I'm sorry, I don't believe in the stocks and I think forex nonsense. I just believe that pyramid schemes. And when we sober up, we'll be hurt. They go and say, I'm trading, spend the whole day in flip-flops and in boxer shorts. I just think it's a whole lot of nonsense. You need to sweat and work hard for your mind. Nothing in life comes in short unless it's a pyramid scheme. So we really need to, it's concerning that our young people are selling these things that their parents have really worked hard to keep for them. And at the glance of a motsadi a tlogela lehatsi, you are ready in 6 months, it's being gazetted and it's sold. See, that's where we're getting it wrong. I want to be that guy who helps batsadi help their children realize the value of holding on. Even in times where you have to sell, just holding on a bit longer. That's what I want to be remembered for.
Powerful. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Kagiso Morokotso. You've just heard his story. We've just dove into the world of real estate with him. I hope you guys learned a lot, as I have. And I hope you guys will comment below on your biggest takeaways and subscribe to the channel, and definitely like this episode and share it with one friend. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we'll meet same time, same place next week. Be great.
Nice one.